Yo, what's up, Bleach fans? This is Rafael from C Manga, and I'm here to give you a review of Chapter 545, Blue Stripes. Now, this chapter, I had to read it twice because I enjoyed it that much. It was one of those really funny chapters. If you've read Bleach from day one, back in the old days, I think you'll find this amusing as well because it's the same kind of comedy like from old school Bleach. I really did enjoy it. It reminded me of that. I think it was Hot Heat, the hot spring chapter we had a few months ago with Ichigo, Rukia, Renji, and Byakuya and the hot springs with that cringy guy, and it's just bare jokes. And this was kind of similar, but obviously less nudity, even though it was implied. So yeah, I would like to see more of this in the future. Obviously, you can't see as much of it because of the whole Blood War arc, but it's nice to see it here and there. Sorry. So yeah, even the bit at the beginning was funny. That's what I'll say in the chapter. Is like Yuzu's cooking up, and she's basically saying, "Oh yeah, Karen Ishin, dinner's ready." And what made me laugh was Ishin because he was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, yeah, he's like, I'll be down there as soon as I get rid of this sick guy. The sick guy's sitting right in front of him. He's like, that sick guy's me. And then the other one was like, Karen's playing, I don't know what console it was. He's like, I'll come down as soon as I've killed this boss. And then at a serious moment, it's like Yuzu was like, oh, I wonder when Ichigo is gonna come back. And his name is very much like referenced in this chapter quite a lot. Then the next thing we see is Ruka and Renji, and they're training, and basically they were just like, I'm not sure if they were sparring or they were just staring each other down, getting used to the Ryatsu, because they apparently when they first went there, they said it was really dense. It was like like the hyperbolic time shape. It was really heavy gravity. Yeah, the Ryatsu was really dense, so they couldn't breathe, talk. They were literally like, well, as it says later on, they were on the floor. Ryukia says, "Oh, it's easier now, but it still feels weird. Like they're moving through water." And she says, "I'm wondering what this kind of Ryatsu would do to their actual bodies." Um, and yeah, so basically it was like they were staring each other down, and then they both ended up taking a deep breath. And Renji fell over and saying, "This is difficult." And she's saying, "You're a fool." And he's like, "Oh, I don't. You like staring at people and pointing my swords at my friends." And she's like, "Oh, I don't like doing the same." And yeah, that's when they started talking about the Ryatsu thing is easier to handle. So she gets a call now from Korinji, the healing guy, and he basically says Byakuya's healed, which obviously pleases her and Renji, and he's like, "Oh, you Korinji tells Byakuya you were in there a long time. It's like the longest anyone's ever been in there. He's like, do you feel dizzy still?" And he's like, "No, I don't feel dizzy at all, but it's like if I survive this, I'm gonna make sure I become powerful enough to feel dizzy again." So Byakuya's got his resolve back, because I remember he was so suicidal when he lost his bankai and he lost that fight. He was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna live soon." It's like he just wanted to die, because I'm guessing his pride and his honor was stomped on by Quincy, so he felt humiliated and his bankai was taken. So it looks like he's willing to train and go out there and kick some ass again. Yeah, so well, this is when the comedy moment starts again, and they was like, "Oh, so it's like that's good, Byakuya's healed," and then it's like all we have to do is eat, check our swords, and then it was like and go back to that place, and then it's basically they went to Sutara's place, and she was the one that made them new clothes. But when they went there, it was like they had to strip down, and obviously separately. That's what the chapter implied. And Renji was basically starting to imagine it again, even though Ruka was telling him to stop because it was like a nightmare to him. And she said to him, "Oh, Sutara," she was saying, "Oh yeah, strip off now. I'll take your measurements." And he was like, I don't need to strip off. It's like I can just I can't remember what they say in Japanese, but it's like, can I just leave the bandages on, and you can take the measurements from that? And she's like, "Okay then, fine." He's like, "I'll take your measurements after I chop off your bits." You know what I mean? Chop off his penis. And then he's like, all right, I'll do it. And then he wakes back up out of the thing, and Rika's like, "Oh, did you finally wake back up before you went any further?" And this is quite clever, because I'm not sure if it was intentional or maybe it was mistranslation, but Kubo slyly broke the fourth wall where Ruka was kind of speaking for the audience, saying, "Oh yeah, Renji woke up before we saw any more nudity or anything like that." So I thought that was another funny thing Kubo did, breaking the fourth wall with that. And then yeah, Rika's kind of being the the little fangirl sister saying, "Oh, it's gonna be so bad for Nisama, like hopefully it'd be so poor for him to go through it." It's like, yeah, you Renji don't care, like you can go through it. It's not a big deal. But what, like poor Byakuya, it's like hopefully he doesn't have to go through with it. And then yeah, this is when things get interesting. It's like the bald guy, the monk guy, he finally appears, and we finally get his name, and he's obviously the Zero Division, Eyeball what was it, Eyeball Monk Ichibe Hosabun. And it's like I was thinking, bro, Ichibe, he's got some mad name, Eyeball Monk. I was like thinking, what does that mean? But he's basically saying, oh yeah, it's impressive you lot are talking now, because before you lot were on the floor all breathing heavily, and it was pitiful. And it's like, it's impressive you progressed this far. And he's like, are you ready to come to the inner training rooms? And they're like, yeah. So that's good that they're kind of being highlighted of being strong. So I'm expecting they'll get some good training. They'll be getting power ups alongside Byakuya, and obviously Ichigo's already getting his power ups, so he'll be training soon as well. Um, yeah, so I'm wondering what his speciality is, because Zutara was obviously like Mayuri. She is more of a scientist. Nimaya is obviously the blacksmith. He makes the zanpakutos and the sushi for the shinigamis. Hukifune, the fat one who's slim as well, she specializes in Ryatsu, so restoring that with her food. And who else was it? And yeah, Korinji, the healer. So I'm guessing that Ichibe, he most likely he's probably either to do with techniques, fighting style. He most likely is warfare. Most likely what he's gonna be introducing. So I'm guessing he'll probably teach them new techniques, Kido or something, anything like that. Because basically warfare techniques, things like that, even swordsmanship, all that. I can't really pinpoint what he is, but it's got to do with fighting, isn't it? So yeah, interesting to see what his powers is and what he specializes in. So yeah, last bit of the chapter, another funny bit was Shinji and what's her name again? I keep forgetting. Yeah, that's it. Hiyori, I forgot about that. Yeah, so she's having an argument with Shinji on the phone. It was funny. It was like, oh, it's like I'm not being rude. I'm bowing my head and asking you politely. And she's like, I can't see you, so it's like, I don't know what you're doing. You could be ordering, and I don't know about it. Just being smart. And he's like, oh, only you can do it. So feel proud about it. You can be the number one and special. And then what's his name? Comes in, the one with the special, who did the barrier stuff. He comes and says that two parcels have come from Shinji and Mayuri, and basically saying that this is what she opens it. She's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. I guess it's like the team fixed that effing distortion between Soul Society and human world has been formed, and Lisa, and I can't remember if it was Lisa or one of the other advisors were like, it's like, what do you mean formed? Where I'm helping you? She's like, yes, of course, we gotta do this. So yeah, they've got to fix the distortion. I think it was the Quincy's caused between Soul Society and the real worlds inside the Dangai or something. They messed that up, so I'm guessing they've got to patch it up before they make another invasion or strike. And yeah, the last bit was Kuryaku appears. This was kind of interesting to Tatsuki, Mizuru, and Keigo, and basically he's saying, what was good was they remember him was from before, and even Mizuru pinpointed who exactly he was, saying he's the eighth captain, and he was like being, oh yeah, like it's good you remember me, but I would have preferred a girl to remember you. So anyway, he's like, well, the reason why I'm here is I've here to tell you that you're about your parting with Ichigo, and that was it, done. It just ended there. So it was like, okay, so Ichigo seems like he's not coming back to the real world, and I did say this a lot of times. I don't think Ichigo is going to be coming back after he leaves to go Soul Society for the final time. I think he's most likely going to become, I'm not sure, full Shinigami there or something in the Royal Realm. He's going to be something special, but it seems like his time in the real world is done. And Urahara did say this to Ishin quite a while ago in the Fullbring arc. It's like, do you really want to take away your son's future? So it most likely means your son's future as a human teenager. And it's like Ichigo's been thrown into adulthood right now, you might as well say. And it seems like that's what's the last bit of the chapter is revealing. He's going to be a full Shinigami, and that's it. And I'm pleased. I really want this to happen. Substitute Shinigami is just, it's old school now. It's old. He needs to get out of that rank and get into something new. Yeah, other than that, I said the chapter, I wish I saw him, but I guess Kubo purposely did this by referencing his name throughout the chapter, because we'll see him next time, hopefully training with those two new Zangetsu he's got, and learning some new techniques other than Getsuga Tensha. Other than that, yeah, good chapter. I really did, as I said, enjoy the humor in it, and it kept some seriousness in it as well. Like I said, revealing overshadowing stuff and the whole thing about Ryatsu and techniques, and finally knowing that bald guy's head's name and all things like that. And I said I do hope people like Riku, Renji and Byakuya get power-ups, because I don't want them to get overshadowed, and I want them to see fight in this war and do some actual influence in the story and do some damage against the Quincy's, man. It'll be good. And yeah, and then we'll see what happens with Ichigo next time. So good chapter. As I said before, really funny, and I hope we see more comedy like this in Bleach. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the next one. So other than that, I've made my predictions about it, and I hope you guys have some predictions to leave. So if you enjoyed the chapter, leave a comment, voice your predictions as well. Also, if you enjoyed the video and the chapter, leave us a like and subscribe for more content in the channel, and I'll speak to you guys next time.